Greetings and salutations, inhabitants of Earth. My name is Shady Wags. I hope you're doing awesome. I know I am. And I'm going to be sharing with you, in my opinion, one of the best and most efficient base setups in Astroneer. And if you stick with me on this, I'm going to share a couple tips you may not be aware of and actually show you something that I feel like is an absolute game breaker. I already have my first base all built, and this thing is just an absolute mess. There's no rhyme or reason to anything here, and that's because as I was building this, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what any of the stations did, so I was just throwing things down here and there, and it just ended up a big mess. I'm going to start another base, and this design makes much more sense, and it's a better use of space overall. So the first thing I'm going to do is print off a new habitat and transport that out to a new location. If this is your first base, you're just going to be stuck in the location where you initially land. I've already researched all the items currently in the game, so I might be using items and stations that you don't have available to you right now, and in those cases I'll try to provide you with alternatives. Okay, this looks like a good spot. It is nice and flat, and it's near a cave system, which is ideal for gathering more research material. The first thing I'm going to do is select the extension and click on that to extend it out and place down one piece of resin. Now I'll move to the opposite side and do the same thing. And I want to keep this as straight as possible. I'm going to try to line this all up. Now on the second platforms, this is where I messed up before. Just because it says resin, that does not mean you have to put resin down. There are actually two connectors there that can be used to place items, and those are two connector platforms. So I'm going to place down large solar panels. If you don't have large solar panels, then as an alternative, you could place down two small solar panels on each platform, and those are created out of your backpack. Once the solar panels are placed down, I will then extend again on both sides, trying to keep a straight line. I go ahead and I place down a piece of resin on that platform to extend it out once again. And on both of those two new platforms, I'm going to place a large battery on top. If you don't have the large battery available to you right now, you could place down two small batteries on each platform, or two small solar panels, or just anything to take the space until you can fill that with the large batteries. Now on both sides, I will use one piece of resin and extend it out even further. Next thing I'm going to do is go to the center of this line, and from the habitat, I'm going to click and move out an extension. I'll place down resin on the first platform, and then on the second platform, I'm going to go ahead and place two pieces of resin, and this is where I'm going to build the printer. The printer is one of the first stations available to you, and it's one you're going to use a lot at the beginning of the game. You're going to need it to create solar panels, wind vanes, seats, storage racks, so it is an important station. On the end of this line, on the right side of that printer, I'm going to build a vehicle bay, and that is another station that you have available to you at the beginning of the game. And you need the vehicle bay to create the rover, the truck, the shuttle, and the spaceship. For the platform with the battery on it, I will extend that one out, and from this one I'm going to build the research station. This is another station you're going to have available at the beginning, and probably the most important one, because you need that in order to research unknown items to unlock other stations and other items. And finally, to complete this side, I'm going to extend out from the solar panel, and from here I will build the smelter. Now this is one station that you do have to find through research, so if you don't have that yet, then just leave it empty for now. What the smelter is used for, as you're exploring, you're going to be mining alloys. And those alloys are then placed onto the center of the smelter, and they'll be refined into usable metals like copper and aluminum. Now I'm going to start at the other end, and from here I'm going to build another vehicle bay. And the reason I'm building two bays is that once you build either the shuttle or the spaceship, they're stationary. And I still want to have the ability to build more rovers and trucks. And since the ships cannot move, they sometimes interfere with your ability to create or modify vehicles at that bay. From the battery, I will extend this out, and from here I'm going to build the fuel condenser. This is obtained through research, so again, if you don't have that, just leave it empty for now. And finally, from the last solar panel, I'll extend that out and I'm going to build the trade platform. This is also found through research, so if you don't have that one, just leave it empty. And I'm going to talk about these two stations here in a minute, because there is an issue as of pre-alpha 2.10 with these two. But first, I'm going to begin heading out and looking for materials so I can build all stations, so I can show you what the entire setup looks like when it's complete. Fast forwarding a little bit here, and the base is complete. I was just out gathering some research materials, and I had to share this with you guys. This is an insane truck flip. This has to be the craziest one I've seen so far. This thing went so far up into the air, it disconnected the tether. I actually thought maybe it had flown up into space. Then I saw the shadow getting larger, and I realized it was coming down, and it was going to come down on top of me. So I started running away. Luckily, I did survive, and the truck is now full of items. And I'm going to pull it into the new completed base and start placing items onto the research station. My guess here is that I have researched everything, so I'm probably going to get only titanium and lithium from these items. That's at least until, new materials are added to the game. And you could get a pretty good idea here why this base design works so well. Nothing is cluttered, it's all in a straight line, so you're not running from one spot to another. I placed 2 storage racks on every other station, and that makes it also really easy to keep it organized. And most of the locations of where I put these stations, they make sense. The last thing I want to show you guys is the fuel condenser in the trade platform. And when you use these two together, it does pretty much break the game, and I hope they do change this. When the fuel condenser is powered up, all you have to do is hit the button, and it will create a can of hydrazine. You are not inputting any items, so basically this is creating something out of nothing. And with this power setup, if you have a full cycle of daylight, you're going to have enough power through the day and the night to fill 2 full storage racks of fuel. You can kind of see here the solar panels fuel the batteries in the fuel condenser during the day, and at night you begin drawing from the batteries. And I think I forgot to mention that I do have 2 small batteries also attached to the habitat. So now if I need any materials, like in this example, I don't feel like going out and gathering compound. I can just go to the trade bay and move the left and right buttons until it displays the material I want. Then I'll begin attaching cans of hydrazine to the shuttle. When the amount displays that I'm happy with, I go ahead and I hit the button, and the shuttle takes off, and after a short amount of time, it returns with my items. So this pretty much breaks the game, because with this dynamic, you don't really have to go out and gather any materials, and it makes that smelter absolutely worthless. Again, like right here, I need 4 copper to build the spaceship. I'll just create some more hydrazine, attach it to the trade shuttle, and with a couple seconds I have the 4 copper. Another tip here, don't have to open your backpack to drag items into it. All you have to do is pick up the item, then click on yourself, and the item will automatically drop into your backpack. This also works for placing items. You don't need to open your backpack. All you have to do is click on the slot, and if those materials are in your backpack, it's going to automatically fill them. So back to the fuel condenser issue. It does mess up the game, And I think an easy way they could fix this is by changing the way hydrazine is mined. Instead of automatically being mined into a canister, it should probably be mined as a raw material. Then you need to place that raw hydrazine onto the condenser to refine it into fuel. So I do hope that's something that they do change. Another thing with this base setup, with the location of the fuel condenser next to the vehicle bay, that makes it real easy to fill up your spaceship. And if you want to relocate and take enough supplies to get another base started on another planet, probably the best option for you to do that is to build the storage rack on top of the spaceship. That way you could fill individual storage racks with all the materials you would need, like compound, resin, copper, and aluminum, then attach those storage racks to the large rack on top of the spaceship, along with the habitat, and you are ready to go. And one last thing, with this base, as they add more stations into the game, which I'm sure they're going to, you have all these extensions available to you on the other side to expand. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I really would appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. That really motivates me to keep making videos. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.